Wealthy mindset. Your mind is a search engine, and right now it might be programmed to find all the wrong things. Every day, your brain scans the world around you, collecting evidence to support what it already believes to be true. If you've been running on scarcity programming, your mental search engine has become expert at spotting limitations, obstacles, and reasons why things won't work. It finds proof that money is hard to come by, opportunities are rare, and success belongs to other people. 1. Flip the switch. From scarcity to surplus. This invisible filter shapes everything you see and every decision you make. When you believe resources are limited, you unconsciously look for confirmation of that belief. You notice the bills piling up but miss the chance to earn extra income. You see the successful person and assume they got lucky, rather than observing the systems they built. You focus on what you lack instead of what you could create. The scarcity mindset doesn't just affect how you think about money. It influences how you value your time, your abilities, and your potential. When scarcity runs the show, you hoard rather than invest. You compete rather than collaborate. And you play not to lose rather than playing to win. This defensive posture keeps you small and safe, but it also keeps you broke. The alternative is surplus thinking, and it starts with recognizing that your current reality is not a prison sentence. It's simply the result of your brain's current programming. Just as you can retrain your body to be stronger, you can retrain your mind to see abundance where scarcity used to hide. Surplus thinking means approaching the world as if opportunities, resources, and possibilities are everywhere, waiting to be discovered by someone with the right eyes to see them. It means believing that value can be created, not just redistributed. It means understanding that when you help others get what they want, you create wealth rather than just chase it. This shift doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't require you to ignore reality or pretend problems don't exist. Instead, it requires you to expand your definition of reality to include solutions, possibilities, and hidden resources that your scarcity filter has been blocking out. The first step is becoming aware of your current programming. Most people run scarcity scripts without even realizing it. You might catch yourself saying things like, "I can't afford that," instead of, "How could I afford that?" You might dismiss opportunities before fully exploring them, or assume that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. These automatic responses are your scarcity filter in action. Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to interrupt them. Every time you notice yourself defaulting to scarcity thinking, you have a choice point. You can follow the old pattern or choose a surplus response instead. Instead of, "There's not enough to go around," you can ask, "How can I create more?" Instead of, "That will never work," you can wonder, "What would it take to make this work?" This mental shift becomes easier when you start collecting evidence that surplus is real. Your brain needs proof that abundance thinking actually works, so you have to feed it examples. This means actively looking for wins, opportunities, and resources that were there all along. When you start a daily practice of scanning for surplus, you'll be amazed at what you begin to notice. Keep a running list of everything that goes well each day, no matter how small. Include the money you saved, the connections you made, the ideas you had, and the progress you created. Your scarcity-programmed brain has been keeping a detailed inventory of everything that goes wrong. Now you're going to balance the books by keeping an equally detailed record of everything that goes right. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist or putting on a fake positive attitude. It's about training your mind to see the complete picture instead of just the challenging parts. When you document your daily wins, you're literally rewiring your brain to notice success patterns instead of just failure patterns. The surplus mindset also changes how you respond to setbacks and obstacles. Instead of seeing them as proof that you're doomed to struggle, you begin to view them as information and temporary challenges to solve. This shift from victim to problem solver is one of the most powerful changes you can make in your thinking. When you encounter a financial challenge, the scarcity response is to panic, withdraw, and look for someone or something to blame. The surplus response is to get curious about solutions and start generating options. Even if the first 10 ideas don't work, The surplus mindset knows that the 11th idea might be exactly what you need. This new way of thinking affects how you talk to yourself and others. Surplus thinking people use language that opens doors rather than closing them. They say, "What if we could?" instead of "we can't, because." They ask, "Who do we know who might?" instead of "we don't know anyone who." Small changes in language create big changes in the opportunities you notice and pursue. The surplus mindset also transforms how you view other people's success. Instead of feeling threatened or jealous when others do well, you see their success as proof that success is possible. You start to study successful people instead of resenting them. You look for patterns you can apply rather than reasons why their success doesn't count. This shift happens faster when you actively practice gratitude for what you already have, but not the passive kind of gratitude that just acknowledges good things. Active surplus gratitude looks at what you have and asks how it could be leveraged, expanded, or used to create even more value. Your existing skills, relationships, and resources become launching pads rather than consolation prizes. As you practice surplus thinking, you'll notice that opportunities start to appear more frequently. This isn't magic or coincidence. Opportunities were always there, but now your newly programmed brain is finally equipped to see them. Your mental search engine is running different software, so it returns different results. The compound effect of this mindset shift extends far beyond money. Surplus thinking improves your relationships because you approach people with curiosity and value rather than neediness and fear. It improves your work because you look for ways to contribute more rather than just get by. It improves your health because you see your body as an asset to invest in rather than an expense to minimize. This transformation from scarcity to surplus thinking is the foundation that makes every other wealth-building strategy possible. Without it, you'll sabotage your own progress by looking for reasons why things won't work. With it, you'll find ways to make almost anything work, and you'll build wealth as a natural byproduct of your new way of seeing the world. The switch from scarcity to surplus isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice of choosing to see possibilities instead of limitations, solutions instead of problems, and abundance instead of lack. Each time you make this choice, you strengthen your surplus thinking muscles and make it easier to default to wealth-building thoughts instead of wealth-blocking ones. 2. Delete the money myths. The stories we tell ourselves about money shape every financial decision we make, yet most people remain completely unaware of the invisible programming running their lives. These mental scripts, formed in childhood and reinforced through years of repetition, create invisible income ceilings that no amount of hard work can break through. The wealthy understand something that the struggling masses do not. Changing your bank account starts with changing the beliefs stored in your subconscious mind. Consider Sarah, a talented consultant who consistently earned exactly $75,000 per year, regardless of how many clients she served or how hard she worked. When business boomed, she would mysteriously sabotage opportunities. When clients offered to pay premium rates, she would discount her services. The pattern persisted until she discovered the root cause. At age 12, she had overheard her father tell her mother that people who made more than $75,000 were greedy and selfish. Her subconscious mind had been faithfully protecting her from becoming the kind of person her father despised. Your brain operates like a sophisticated filtering system, scanning millions of pieces of information every second and showing you only what aligns with your existing beliefs. If you believe money is scarce, you will notice every layoff announcement and economic downturn while remaining blind to the countless opportunities surrounding you. If you believe wealthy people are dishonest, you will unconsciously repel the very behaviors that build wealth. These limiting beliefs act as invisible glass ceilings, allowing you to see the next level of prosperity while preventing you from reaching it. The most destructive money myth plaguing modern society is the zero-sum fallacy, the belief that wealth is a finite pie where one person's gain requires another's loss. This scarcity-based thinking transforms money from a tool of creation into a weapon of competition. People trapped in this mindset view every successful person as someone who has taken something away from them. They celebrate when wealthy people fail and feel guilty when their own income increases. This toxic belief system makes it psychologically impossible to pursue wealth with the focused intensity required for significant financial success. The mathematical truth reveals a different reality entirely. Wealth creation is fundamentally about solving problems and serving others. When you create value, that improves people's lives. Money flows to you as a natural consequence. The farmer who feeds 1,000 families, the teacher who educates eager students, the builder who constructs sturdy homes, all generate wealth by making the world more abundant. Their success creates opportunities for suppliers, employees, and communities, expanding prosperity rather than diminishing it. Another pervasive myth convinces people they lack the natural ability to understand money. The phrase, "I'm just not good with numbers," has become a socially acceptable excuse for financial illiteracy, as if mathematical comprehension were determined by genetics rather than education. This learned helplessness keeps intelligent people trapped in cycles of financial dependence, convinced they must rely on others to manage their money. The wealthy recognize that money management requires basic arithmetic, not advanced mathematics. If you can calculate a tip at a restaurant, you possess the numerical skills necessary to build substantial wealth. The myth of overnight success creates equally damaging expectations about the wealth-building process. Popular culture celebrates lottery winners and inheritance recipients while ignoring the decades of consistent effort behind most fortunes. This fantasy thinking causes people to abandon solid wealth-building strategies in pursuit of get-rich-quick schemes that inevitably fail. Genuine prosperity emerges from compounding small improvements over extended periods, not from singular dramatic events. Every wealthy individual you admire built their fortune through thousands of smart decisions made consistently over many years. Religious and cultural conditioning often implants the destructive belief that money corrupts character and spiritual purity. This moral confusion transforms wealth from a practical tool into an ethical battleground. People holding these beliefs unconsciously sabotage their financial progress to maintain their self-image as good, humble individuals. They associate poverty with virtue and prosperity with sin, making it psychologically impossible to pursue wealth without experiencing guilt and internal conflict. The truth is that money amplifies existing character traits rather than creating new ones. Generous people become more generous with wealth, while selfish people become more selfish. The money itself is morally neutral. The perfectionism trap convinces aspiring wealth builders that they must master every detail before taking action. This analysis paralysis keeps people perpetually studying investment strategies, business models, and financial planning techniques without ever implementing their knowledge. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the ideal market conditions, or complete certainty before making their first move. Meanwhile, those willing to start with imperfect information and learn through experience build substantial wealth over time. Progress beats perfection in every aspect of wealth creation. Cultural programming often installs the belief that wanting money demonstrates shallow materialism and spiritual emptiness. This artificial division between material and spiritual success prevents people from recognizing money as a tool for creating positive impact. Wealthy people can fund charitable causes, support family members, invest in education, and create opportunities for others. Poverty limits your ability to serve others and forces you to focus primarily on your own survival. Pursuing financial abundance can be one of the most generous and spiritually aligned paths you choose. The myth of genetic financial destiny suggests that money management ability runs in families and cannot be developed. People from financially struggling backgrounds often assume they are doomed to repeat their parents' mistakes, while those from wealthy families believe success is their birthright. This deterministic thinking ignores the countless examples of people who transcended their financial origins through education, effort, and strategic thinking. Your current financial situation reflects your past decisions and circumstances, not your future potential. Transforming these limiting beliefs requires more than intellectual understanding. It demands emotional rewiring through consistent practice and evidence gathering. Begin by identifying the specific myths controlling your financial behavior. Notice the internal dialogue that arises when you consider raising your prices, asking for a promotion, or making an investment. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about wealthy people, money in general, and your own capabilities. Write these beliefs down explicitly, rather than allowing them to operate in the shadows of your subconscious mind. For each limiting belief you identify, actively collect evidence that contradicts its validity. If you believe wealthy people are inherently dishonest, research philanthropists and ethical business leaders who have created immense value while maintaining their integrity. If you think you lack financial intelligence, document every smart money decision you have made, regardless of size. If you assume money corrupts character, find examples of people who became more generous and compassionate as their wealth increased. Your brain will resist this evidence initially, but persistent exposure gradually weakens the grip of false beliefs. Create replacement beliefs that align with wealth-building behavior and repeat them with emotional intensity until they become automatic responses. Instead of "money is the root of all evil," program "money is a tool for creating positive impact." Replace "I'm terrible with finances" with "I'm learning to manage money more effectively every day." Transform "wealthy people are greedy" into "wealth allows generous people to serve others more effectively." The key lies in selecting beliefs that feel believable to your current mindset while pointing toward financial abundance. The most powerful belief transformation occurs when you begin acting as if your new beliefs were already true. If you want to believe you deserve financial abundance, start making decisions that abundant people make. If you want to internalize the truth that you create value for others, begin documenting and celebrating the positive impact of your work. Behavior shapes belief as much as belief shapes behavior, creating a reinforcing cycle that gradually transforms your entire financial identity. Your money myths have been running your financial life from the shadows for years, creating consistent results that match their programming. Bringing these beliefs into conscious awareness and systematically replacing them with empowering alternatives represents the foundation of lasting financial transformation. The wealthy think differently about money because they hold different beliefs about money. Change your beliefs, and your bank account will inevitably follow. 3. Your wealth operating system. Most people approach money the same way they approach diet and exercise. They rely on willpower, make sporadic efforts when motivation strikes, and wonder why they keep falling back into old patterns. They'll read a book about investing, get excited, buy a few shares, then forget about it for months. They'll promise to save more, do well for a few weeks, then gradually slip back into spending every dollar they earn. This approach fails because it depends on the weakest force in human psychology: willpower. Wealthy people understand something different. They know that systems beat willpower every single time. They don't rely on feeling motivated to build wealth. They create automatic processes that build wealth, whether they feel like it or not. They design what I call a wealth operating system, and it runs in the background of their lives like the software that runs your computer. Think about your smartphone for a moment. You don't wake up each morning and manually instruct it to check for messages, update your apps, or sync your photos to the cloud. The operating system handles all of that automatically. It runs the same processes in the same order every single day. It's reliable, consistent, and it works without your conscious involvement. Your wealth needs the same kind of system. A wealth operating system has 4 core components: vision, rules, scoreboards, and automations. Each component serves a specific purpose, and together they create a machine that builds wealth while you focus on living your life. Vision is your financial destination. It's not a vague wish like, "I want to be rich someday." It's a specific, detailed picture of what wealth looks like for you. Maybe it's having enough passive income to cover your living expenses. Maybe it's owning rental properties that generate $5,000 a month. Maybe it's building a business you can sell for 7 figures. The exact vision doesn't matter as much as having one that's clear and compelling, enough to guide your decisions. Your vision needs to be written down in precise terms. Instead of "I want to be financially free," write, "I want to have $1 million in investments generating $50,000 per year in passive income by age 50. Instead of "I want a successful business," write, I want to build a consulting practice generating $20,000 per month in profit within 3 years. Specific visions create specific actions. Vague visions create vague results. Rules are the non-negotiable principles that govern your financial decisions. They remove emotion and guesswork from money choices. When you face a financial decision, you don't have to rely on how you feel in the moment or try to calculate every possible outcome. You simply follow your rules. Wealthy people have rules like, I invest 20% of every dollar I earn, no matter what, or I never spend money I don't have, or I always pay myself first before paying any other bills. These rules aren't suggestions or guidelines. They're absolute principles that get followed regardless of circumstances, emotions, or temporary setbacks. Your rules should be simple enough to remember and specific enough to follow. A rule like, I'll save money when I can, is useless because it leaves too much room for interpretation. A rule like, I transfer $300 to my investment account every payday before spending money on anything else is powerful because it's specific and actionable. Scoreboards track the numbers that matter for building wealth. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets improved. Most people have no idea what their net worth is, how much they spend each month, or what percentage of their income they save. They're trying to win a financial game without keeping score. Your scoreboard should track both your current position and your progress. Net worth tells you where you stand right now. Monthly savings rate tells you how fast you're moving toward your goals. Number of income sources tells you how stable your financial foundation is. These numbers should be visible and updated regularly, just like an athlete tracks their performance statistics. The magic happens when you can see your progress clearly. When you watch your net worth climb from $10,000 to $15,000 to $25,000, something psychological shifts. You start to see yourself as someone who builds wealth. You make decisions differently. You prioritize differently. The scoreboard doesn't just track your progress, it changes your identity. Automations are the muscle of your wealth operating system. They're the automatic transfers, recurring investments, and systematic processes that build wealth without requiring daily decisions or perfect discipline. Automation removes friction from good financial habits and adds friction to bad ones. The most powerful automation is paying yourself first. Every payday, a predetermined amount moves automatically from your income to your wealth-building accounts before you see it or have a chance to spend it. This isn't leftover money you save if there's anything remaining at the end of the month. This is money that disappears immediately into your future. Start by mapping your current money flow. Track where every dollar goes from the moment it hits your account. Most people are shocked to discover how much money disappears into small, unconscious purchases. They'll spend $30 a week on coffee without thinking about it, but agonize over whether they can afford to invest $100 a month. Once you understand your current flow, design your ideal flow. Decide what percentage of your income should go toward building wealth, and make that transfer automatic. Decide what categories of spending align with your values and goals, and set up separate accounts for each category. Create a system where money flows automatically to where it needs to go. Your wealth operating system should fit on a single page. If it's more complicated than that, you won't follow it consistently. Write down your specific vision in 1 or 2 sentences. List your 5 most important financial rules. Identify the 3 key numbers you'll track monthly. Define the automatic transfers and investments that will build wealth without your daily involvement. The goal isn't to create the perfect system right away. The goal is to create a working system you can improve over time. Start with simple automations and basic rules, then refine them as you learn what works for your situation. A simple system you actually use beats a complex system you abandon after 2 weeks. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than planning their wealth. They'll research hotels and restaurants for hours, but wing it completely when it comes to their financial future. They hope things will work out somehow, but hope isn't a strategy. Systems are strategies. Your wealth operating system becomes the foundation for every other financial decision you make. When opportunities arise, you evaluate them against your vision and rules. When challenges occur, You have automatic processes that keep building wealth regardless of temporary setbacks. When emotions run high, you have objective scoreboards that show you the truth about your progress. The wealthy understand that money is emotional for everyone, including them. The difference is they don't rely on managing their emotions. They rely on systems that work regardless of how they feel. They build wealth the same way water carves canyons, not through dramatic bursts of effort, but through consistent, persistent pressure applied over time. 4. Goals that pay you. Most people set goals that feel good but pay nothing. They aim to increase revenue by 50% or build a six-figure business without understanding the difference between outcomes they hope for and actions that create those outcomes. The wealthy think differently. They set goals that directly deposit money into their accounts through specific, repeatable actions they control completely. The fundamental shift happens when you stop chasing lag metrics and start obsessing over lead metrics. Lag metrics tell you what already happened. Your bank balance is a lag metric. Your monthly sales total is a lag metric. These numbers reflect the accumulation of thousands of small decisions and actions you took weeks or months ago. Lead metrics predict what will happen. The number of prospects you contact daily is a lead metric. The hours you spend learning high-value skills is a lead metric. The pieces of valuable content you create each week is a lead metric. When you focus on lag metrics, you're essentially trying to drive by looking in the rearview mirror. You can see where you've been, but you have no control over where you're going. When you focus on lead metrics, you're controlling the steering wheel. You may not see the destination yet, but you're actively creating the future you want. This is why most goal setting fails. People write down, make $100,000 this year, and think they've done something meaningful. But that goal gives them no roadmap, no daily actions, and no way to measure progress until December 31st when they either hit it or miss it. By then, it's too late to adjust course. The goal becomes a wish, and wishes don't pay bills. Payline goals solve this problem completely. These are goals that create a direct line between your daily actions and money flowing into your life. They pass what we call the 3R test. They're repeatable, revenue-linked, and reachable. If a goal doesn't pass all three tests, it's not a payline goal, and it won't reliably create wealth. Repeatable means you can do it again and again. Get one lucky break is not repeatable. Send 5 personalized proposals every day is repeatable. Have content go viral is not repeatable. Publish valuable content twice per week is repeatable. The power of wealth building lies in compounding, and compounding requires repetition. Every wealthy person has discovered something valuable they can do repeatedly, then built systems to do it more efficiently and frequently. Revenue-linked means the action directly connects to money coming in. Read about business for 1 hour daily feels productive but isn't revenue-linked. Spend 1 hour daily contacting potential clients is revenue-linked. Learn new skills sounds smart but doesn't pay immediately. Create and pitch 3 new service packages this month pays immediately. The connection between action and payment must be clear and short. The longer the chain between what you do and money appearing in your account, the weaker the goal becomes. Reachable means you can achieve it with your current resources and constraints. Contact 100 prospects daily might be revenue-linked and repeatable, but if you're working a full-time job and have 2 small children, it's not reachable. Unreachable goals create frustration and abandonment. Contact 5 prospects daily might be perfectly reachable and still create excellent results over time. The goal is to create momentum and build confidence through consistent wins, not to exhaust yourself pursuing impossible standards. The magic happens when you combine all 3 elements. Send 2 personalized proposals every weekday for 90 days. Passes the 3R test completely. It's repeatable, same action daily. Revenue-linked proposals generate sales. And reachable, most people can find time for 2 proposals daily. This single goal, executed consistently, will generate more wealth than a dozen vague aspirations about growing the business. Your 90-day scorecard becomes the measurement tool that turns payline goals into automatic habits. This isn't complicated tracking or elaborate spreadsheets. It's a simple daily record of whether you completed your payline goals or not. Did you send the 2 proposals? Yes or no? Did you publish the weekly content? Yes or no? Did you make the 5 prospect calls? Yes or no? The scorecard works because it makes the invisible visible. Most people have no idea what they actually do with their time versus what they think they do. They believe they're working hard on wealth-building activities, but when forced to track honestly, they discover huge gaps between intention and action. The scorecard eliminates self-deception and creates accountability. More importantly, the scorecard creates momentum through small wins. Each yes mark becomes a tiny victory that builds confidence and reinforces the behavior. Each no mark becomes valuable data about obstacles and needed adjustments, not reasons for self-criticism. Over 90 days, patterns emerge clearly. You see which goals are realistic and which need modification. You see which days of the week work best for different activities. You see how small, consistent actions accumulate into significant results. The 90-day time frame is deliberate. It's long enough to see real results and build lasting habits, but short enough to maintain focus and motivation. Most people can commit fully to anything for 90 days. They get overwhelmed by annual goals and bored by monthly goals, but 90 days feels both meaningful and achievable. After each 90-day cycle, you review the results and adjust for the next cycle. Goals that produced great results get continued or expanded. Goals that didn't work get modified or replaced. This creates a feedback loop of continuous improvement, where each cycle becomes more effective than the last. The compound effect of this approach is remarkable. In your first 90-day cycle, you might send 180 proposals, make 900 prospect calls, and publish 12 pieces of valuable content. Even with modest response rates, this activity level virtually guarantees increased income. In your second cycle, you can refine your approach based on what worked best in the first cycle. By your fourth cycle, you've created a systematic, proven approach to generating wealth that works regardless of market conditions or economic circumstances. This is how wealthy people think about goals. They don't hope for outcomes. They engineer them through consistent execution of proven actions. They don't wait for motivation. They rely on systems that work whether they feel like it or not. They don't celebrate intentions. They measure and reward actual completion of wealth-building activities. Your next 90 days can be the beginning of a completely different financial trajectory. Choose 3 payline goals that pass the 3R test. Write them down where you'll see them daily. Create your simple scorecard. Schedule the activities on your calendar like important appointments. Then execute with the confidence that every completion mark moves you closer to the wealth you deserve. The difference between the wealthy and everyone else isn't luck, connections, or starting capital. It's the discipline to set goals, that pay and the persistence to achieve them day after day until the compound effect makes them unstoppable. 5. The habit stack for high net worth. Your net worth is the sum of your daily habits compounded over time. Every wealthy person knows this truth, even if they can't articulate it precisely. The difference between someone who builds lasting wealth and someone who struggles financially isn't talent, luck, or even starting capital. It's the small, seemingly insignificant actions they repeat every single day. Think about water carving through rock. No single drop creates the canyon, but millions of drops following the same path create something magnificent and permanent. Your daily habits work the same way. Each individual action feels meaningless, but when stacked together and repeated consistently, they create unstoppable momentum toward wealth. The problem most people face isn't that they don't want to be wealthy. They simply don't understand which daily behaviors actually create wealth. They focus on the dramatic moments, the big decisions, the occasional windfalls. Meanwhile, the truly wealthy focus on boring consistency. They understand that wealth is built in the quiet moments when nobody is watching, through small actions that seem insignificant to everyone else. This is where the concept of keystone habits becomes powerful. A keystone habit is a single behavior that naturally triggers other positive behaviors. When you build the right keystone habits around wealth creation, everything else becomes easier. You stop relying on willpower and motivation, which are unreliable and finite resources. Instead, you create automatic behaviors that move you toward wealth, whether you feel like it or not. The 4 keystone habits that create lasting wealth are surprisingly simple. First is learning. Every day, wealthy people consume information that makes them more valuable. This isn't random browsing or entertainment disguised as education. It's targeted, learning directly connected to their ability to solve problems and create value. They might spend 15 minutes reading about their industry, studying a new skill, or understanding how successful people in their field operate. The second keystone habit is prospecting. This means actively looking for opportunities to create value and income. Most people wait for opportunities to find them. Wealthy people hunt for opportunities every single day. They reach out to potential clients, partners, or collaborators. They explore new markets, test new ideas, and plant seeds that might grow into income streams months or years later. Prospecting isn't just for salespeople. It's for anyone who wants to control their financial destiny. The third keystone habit is building. Wealthy people create something valuable every single day. This might be a product, a piece of content, a system, or a relationship. They understand that wealth comes from creating value that can be leveraged and scaled. While others consume, they build. While others complain, they create solutions. This daily building habit ensures they always have assets working for them. The fourth keystone habit is reviewing. Wealthy people track their progress obsessively. They know their numbers, understand their trends, and adjust their strategies based on data rather than feelings. They review what worked, what didn't, and what they can improve tomorrow. This habit of reflection and adjustment keeps them moving in the right direction instead of spinning their wheels. The magic happens when you stack these 4 habits together into a single daily routine. This creates what we call the wealth block, a focused period where you engage in all 4 wealth-building behaviors systematically. The beauty of habit stacking is that once one behavior becomes automatic, it triggers the next behavior in the sequence. You don't have to remember or decide what to do next. The routine carries you forward. A 60-minute wealth block might look like this: 15 minutes of targeted learning, 30 minutes of creating or prospecting, and 15 minutes of reviewing and planning. The specific activities within each segment can vary based on your situation and goals, but the structure remains consistent. This consistency is what transforms good intentions into automatic behaviors and automatic behaviors into wealth. During the learning segment, you might read industry publications, study successful people in your field, or learn a new skill directly connected to your income potential. The key is making this learning targeted and actionable rather than random or purely theoretical. Ask yourself, how can I use this information to solve bigger problems or serve more people? The creating and prospecting segment is where you take action on what you've learned. You might reach out to potential clients, work on a project that could generate income, or build something that adds value to your market. This is active work, not passive consumption. You're moving the needle forward on projects and relationships that could pay you. The reviewing segment is where you track your progress and plan your next moves. You might update your financial tracking, review your goals, or analyze what's working and what isn't. This reflection time ensures you're building wealth intentionally rather than hoping it happens accidentally. The power of this system isn't just in the individual habits, but in how they reinforce each other. Learning gives you better ideas for what to build and where to prospect. Building and prospecting give you real-world data to review and learn from. Reviewing helps you identify what to learn next and where to focus your building efforts. This creates a positive feedback loop that accelerates your progress over time. Most people resist this kind of daily routine because it seems too simple or too structured. They want the big breakthrough, the perfect opportunity, the magic moment that changes everything. But wealthy people understand that magic moments are usually the result of hundreds of ordinary moments stacked together. The person who spends 60 minutes every day building their wealth will outperform the person who spends 6 hours once a week, even though the total time investment is the same. The key to making this work is starting smaller than you think you should and being more consistent than you think you need to be. If 60 minutes feels overwhelming, start with 20 minutes. If daily feels too ambitious, start with 5 days a week. The goal is to build the habit first and expand it later. A small habit done consistently will always beat a large habit done sporadically. You also need to protect your wealth block like it's the most important meeting of your day, because it is. This means scheduling it at a time when you're mentally fresh and unlikely to be interrupted. For most people, this is early in the morning before the demands of the day take over. It means turning off distractions and treating this time as sacred. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. The compound effect of these daily habits will surprise you. In the first week, you might not notice much difference. In the first month, you'll start to see small changes. By the third month, other people will notice your progress. By the end of the first year, you'll look back amazed at how much ground you've covered through small, consistent daily actions. Your current net worth is the result of your past daily habits. Your future net worth will be determined by the daily habits you build starting today. The question isn't whether you have time for a daily wealth block. The question is whether you have time not to build these habits. Every day you delay is another day your wealth building compounds in the wrong direction or not at all. The wealthy understand that success is a system, not an event. They've systematized the daily behaviors that create wealth so they don't have to think about them or rely on motivation to do them. Now it's your turn to build the same system. Your future wealthy self is counting on the habits you build today. 6. Income is a skill. Build your value engine. Most people treat income like weather, something that happens to them based on forces beyond their control. They hope for raises, pray for promotions, and wonder why their paychecks never seem to grow fast enough. But here's what wealthy people understand that others miss. Income isn't luck, circumstance, or even talent. Income is a skill you can develop, practice, and master like any other. The moment you shift from seeing yourself as someone who receives income to someone who creates it, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission and start building permission. You stop hoping someone will pay you more and start becoming worth more. This isn't about working harder or longer hours. It's about understanding the fundamental equation that drives all income and then systematically improving each part of it. The value equation is elegantly simple. Value equals problem size multiplied by, audience multiplied by, proof multiplied by, leverage. Every dollar you've ever earned or ever will earn flows through this formula. Master it, and you master your financial destiny. Problem size is the foundation of all value creation. The bigger the problem you solve, the more valuable you become. A person who helps someone save 5 minutes is worth less than someone who helps save 5 hours. Someone who prevents a small inconvenience is worth less than someone who prevents a major disaster. This is why doctors earn more than cashiers, why consultants earn more than clerks, and why specialists earn more than generalists. But here's where most people get stuck. They focus on problems they can solve rather than problems worth solving. They become very good at small things instead of becoming good at big things. The wealthy mindset asks different questions. What problems keep people awake at night? What challenges do people pay anything to fix? What pain points do entire industries struggle with? The answers point toward bigger problems and bigger paychecks. The beautiful truth is that bigger problems aren't always harder to solve, they're just harder to see. Most people can't spot them because they're trained to look at what's directly in front of them rather than what's missing from the picture. The person who notices that busy professionals struggle to find time for exercise doesn't need a degree in fitness to create value. They need to see the problem clearly and then build a bridge between the problem and a solution. Audience is the multiplier that turns good ideas into great income. The same solution delivered to 10 people generates different income than the same solution delivered to 10,000 people. Most people accidentally limit their audience by thinking small, staying local, or targeting the wrong group entirely. They solve expensive problems for people who can't afford expensive solutions, or they solve cheap problems for people who would pay premium prices. The wealthy approach audience development like building a magnet. They don't chase people, they become attractive to the right people. They study their ideal audience deeply, understanding not just what problems they face, but how those problems feel, what language they use to describe them, and where they go looking for solutions. They position themselves where their audience naturally gathers, rather than trying to drag people to unfamiliar places. This means thinking beyond your immediate circle or geographic location. The person next door might not need what you offer, but someone 3 time zones away might desperately need it. The wealthy mindset embraces the reality that your perfect audience might be people you've never met who live places you've never been. The internet has made audience size a choice rather than an accident of birth. Proof is what transforms possibility into payment. You might solve big problems for large audiences, but without proof, you're just another person making claims. Proof is what separates the person charging premium prices from the person begging for scraps. It's the difference between being seen as an expert and being seen as a wannabe. Most people think proof means credentials, certificates, or degrees. While these can help, they're often the weakest form of proof. The strongest proof is results, specific, measurable, documented results that you've helped others achieve. Case studies beat college degrees. Before and after comparisons beat impressive titles. Testimonials from real people solving real problems beat theoretical knowledge every time. The case study flywheel is how wealthy people build proof systematically. They start by solving problems for a small group, document the process and results, then use those case studies to attract bigger opportunities. Each success creates proof for the next level. Each win becomes evidence for bigger wins. The person who helps one small business increase revenue by 20% can use that case study to attract larger businesses willing to pay more for the same percentage increase. Smart people build proof before they need it. They volunteer their skills, take on challenging projects, and document everything along the way. They understand that today's proof generates tomorrow's premium. They're willing to work for results instead of just money because results create the foundation for much more money later. Leverage is what separates those who trade time for money from those who build wealth. Without leverage, you're limited by hours in the day and energy in your body. With leverage, your value can reach infinitely more people without infinitely more effort. Leverage turns your value creation into a system rather than just a service. The 4 forms of leverage each offer different advantages. Content leverage means your ideas can work for thousands of people simultaneously. Code leverage means systems can deliver your solutions automatically. Capital leverage means money can multiply your efforts. Collaboration leverage means other people can extend your reach and capabilities. Most people resist leverage because it requires upfront effort without immediate payment. They'd rather get paid for today's work today than build systems that pay them repeatedly for work they did once. But wealthy people understand that the highest paid work happens before the payment. They're willing to plant trees whose fruit they'll harvest later, rather than just picking berries they can eat immediately. The skill sprint approach treats income development like athletic training. Just as athletes improve through focused practice on specific skills, high earners improve through concentrated effort on high-value capabilities. The 100-hour rule suggests that focused effort on any valuable skill for 100 hours will create noticeable improvement and often noticeable income. 100 hours sounds like a lot until you break it down. It's less than 2 hours per day for 2 months. It's 1 focused weekend per month for a year. It's the time most people spend watching television in 6 weeks. The difference is that those 100 hours are concentrated on building something that pays you back rather than just entertaining you. The key is choosing skills that directly connect to income, rather than just choosing skills that interest you. Learning to paint watercolors might bring joy, but learning to write persuasively brings paychecks. Learning to play guitar might impress friends, but learning to analyze problems impresses clients. The wealthy mindset doesn't ignore personal interests, but it prioritizes skills that build financial foundation first. Your value engine isn't built overnight, but it can be built systematically. Every day you can make one part of the equation a little stronger. You can study bigger problems, reach more people, document more proof, or add more leverage. Small daily improvements in your value creation compound into dramatic income increases over time. The person earning $50,000 per year isn't a different species from the person earning $500,000 per year. They're operating different value equations. They're solving different-sized problems for different-sized audiences with different amounts of proof and leverage. The gap between them isn't talent or luck, it's understanding and application of these principles. Your income is not your identity, but it is your responsibility. It's not something that happens to you, it's something you create through the systematic development of your value engine. Every day presents opportunities to solve bigger problems, serve more people, build more proof, and create more leverage. The only question is whether you'll approach those opportunities with the wealthy mindset, or continue waiting for income to find you. The transformation begins when you see yourself not as someone who has a job, but as someone who creates value. Not as someone who gets paid, but as someone who earns payment. Not as someone hoping for more income, but as someone building the skills and systems that make higher income inevitable. 7. Leverage is greater than hustle. The most successful people you know aren't working harder than everyone else. They're working through systems that multiply their efforts. While others trade time for money in a direct exchange, wealthy people have learned to create outputs that exceed their inputs. This isn't about shortcuts or lazy thinking. It's about understanding that true wealth comes from multiplication, not addition. Consider two people with identical skills and work ethics. One spends 10 hours creating a solution for a single client. The other spends the same 10 hours creating a solution that serves 100 clients. Both worked equally hard, but only one created leverage. The difference isn't talent or effort. It's understanding how to build systems that work without your constant presence. Most people believe that working harder automatically leads to earning more. This thinking traps them in a cycle where their income has a ceiling determined by the hours they can physically work. Even if they charge premium rates, they're still bound by the fundamental limitation of time. Wealthy people think differently. They ask themselves how they can solve problems once and get paid repeatedly, or how they can amplify their efforts through tools, systems, or other people. There are 4 primary forms of leverage that can transform your financial results. The first is code, which includes any form of technology or automation that performs work without your direct involvement. This doesn't require you to become a programmer. It means finding ways to let technology handle repetitive tasks, communications, or processes. When you set up systems that handle routine work automatically, you free yourself to focus on higher value activities. The second form is content, which works by capturing your knowledge, insights, or solutions in a format that can reach multiple people simultaneously. When you create something once that continues to provide value to others, you've built a leverage machine. This could be written materials, recorded presentations, templates, or any other format that delivers your expertise without requiring your real-time presence. Capital represents the third form of leverage, where money itself becomes a tool that generates returns. This goes beyond simply saving money. It's about understanding how to deploy resources in ways that create ongoing income or appreciation. Capital leverage allows your money to work as hard as you do, creating wealth even when you're focused on other activities. The fourth form is collaboration, which harnesses the skills, time, or networks of other people to achieve results beyond what you could accomplish alone. This isn't just about hiring employees. It includes partnerships, joint ventures, referral systems, or any arrangement where others contribute to your success while achieving their own goals. The key insight is that these forms of leverage can be layered and combined. A single project might incorporate automated systems, captured knowledge, strategic investment, and collaborative relationships. Each layer multiplies the others, creating compound effects that seem almost magical to those who haven't understood the underlying principles. Building leverage starts with examining your current work and identifying what you're doing repeatedly. Every time you solve the same type of problem, answer similar questions, or perform routine tasks, you have an opportunity to create leverage. Instead of handling these situations individually each time they arise, you can develop systems, tools, or resources that handle them more efficiently. The process requires an upfront investment of time, energy, or money to build the leverage system. This is where many people falter. They see the initial cost without recognizing the long-term multiplication effect. Building leverage means accepting short-term effort for long-term amplification. You might spend a week creating a system that saves you an hour every month going forward. Or invest a day building a resource that eliminates routine questions from clients. One of the most powerful aspects of leverage is how it compounds over time. Each system you build makes the next one easier to create. Each piece of content you develop adds to a growing library of value. Each collaborative relationship opens doors to new opportunities. Every dollar you deploy strategically generates returns that can be reinvested for greater impact. The mindset shift from hustle to leverage requires changing how you measure productivity. Instead of focusing on how many hours you worked, you start measuring the lasting value you created. Instead of celebrating how busy you are, you recognize efficiency and multiplication as the real victories. This doesn't mean you become lazy or avoid hard work. It means you become more intentional about where you direct your efforts. Many people resist building leverage because it feels risky or unfamiliar. They're comfortable with the direct relationship between effort and results, even if it limits their potential. Breaking through this resistance requires recognizing that the real risk lies in remaining dependent on trading time for money. Market conditions change, energy levels fluctuate, and time remains finite. Leverage provides stability and growth potential that direct effort alone cannot match. Starting small removes the intimidation factor and allows you to experience the power of leverage without overwhelming risk. You might begin by creating simple templates for work you do regularly, setting up basic, automated responses for common questions, or documenting processes that others could follow. These small steps build confidence and demonstrate the principle in action. As you develop leverage systems, you'll notice that opportunities begin appearing that weren't visible before. When you're not consumed with handling everything manually, you have mental space to identify new possibilities. When your systems handle routine tasks, you can focus on strategic thinking and relationship building. When your efforts are multiplied through leverage, you can pursue larger opportunities that might have seemed impossible when you were trapped in direct time for money exchanges. The goal isn't to eliminate all personal effort or avoid hands-on work. Great results still require skill, judgment, and attention to quality. Leverage amplifies these qualities rather than replacing them. You maintain involvement in the aspects of work that truly require your unique abilities while systematizing everything else. Building wealth through leverage also creates value for others. When you develop systems that solve problems efficiently, create content that helps people learn, or build collaborations that benefit all parties, you're contributing to overall prosperity while building your own. This alignment between personal success and broader value creation is one of the hallmarks of sustainable wealth building. The transition from hustle to leverage thinking represents a fundamental shift in how you approach your work and financial future. Instead of asking how many hours you can work, you ask how you can multiply the impact of each hour. Instead of focusing only on immediate results, you invest in systems that compound over time. This shift in thinking, combined with consistent action to build leverage systems, creates the foundation for wealth that grows beyond the direct limits of your time and energy. 8. Think in assets, not hours. The moment you stop trading time for money is the moment your wealth journey truly begins. Most people are trapped in an hourly mindset, believing that more income requires more hours. They think in terms of shifts, overtime, and trading their precious life energy for a paycheck that stops the second they stop working. This thinking keeps them locked in a financial prison where their income has a ceiling. There are only 24 hours in a day. Wealthy people think differently. They think in assets. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket without requiring your constant presence or effort. While everyone else is calculating their hourly wage, asset thinkers are asking a fundamentally different question. How can I create something once that pays me repeatedly? The shift from hourly thinking to asset thinking represents one of the most profound mental transformations you can make. When you work by the hour, you're essentially renting yourself to someone else. You show up, perform a task, collect payment, then repeat the cycle tomorrow. Your income is directly tied to your physical presence and effort. Miss a day, lose a day's pay. Take a vacation, lose a week's income. Get sick, and your financial engine stops completely. Asset thinking flips this equation. Instead of asking, how many hours can I work? You start asking, what can I create that works for me? This mindset shift opens up possibilities that simply don't exist in the hourly world. Instead of being limited by time, you're limited only by your creativity and willingness to build something of lasting value. Consider the baker, who works 14 hours a day making fresh bread. She's skilled, hardworking, and provides real value to her community. But she's trapped by the hourly model. Every loaf requires her time, her presence, her energy. If she wants to double her income, she needs to double her hours, which is impossible. Now imagine the same baker who creates a cookbook with her secret recipes, produces instructional videos, or develops a line of pre-mixed baking ingredients that others can use. Suddenly, her knowledge and expertise become assets that generate income while she sleeps. The asset test is simple but powerful. Does it generate cash or increase in value without requiring your ongoing time and attention? If the answer is yes, you're looking at an asset. If it requires you to show up every day to keep the money flowing, it's a job disguised as a business. Real assets come in many forms. Physical assets include properties that generate rental income, businesses that operate with hired management, or equipment that others lease from you. Digital assets might include online courses that sell automatically, books that generate ongoing royalties, or software tools that customers pay to use monthly. Financial assets are stocks, bonds, or funds that appreciate and pay dividends over time. Intellectual property assets include patents, trademarks, or licensed content that others pay to use. But here's what most people miss. You don't need huge amounts of capital to start thinking in assets. The asset mindset can be applied at any scale. A freelance writer who creates template contracts and sells them to other freelancers has created a micro-asset. A consultant who records her most common advice into an audio series that clients can purchase has turned her expertise into an asset. A craftsman who creates detailed tutorials showing others how to replicate his work has transformed knowledge into income that flows without his direct involvement. The key is recognizing that your knowledge, skills, and experiences can be packaged into forms that serve others repeatedly. Every problem you've solved, every skill you've mastered, every system you've developed contains the seeds of potential assets. The question isn't whether you have valuable knowledge, you do. The question is whether you'll take the time to package that knowledge in a form that can work for you. One of the most accessible forms of asset creation is documentation. Every time you solve a problem or complete a task, you have an opportunity to document the process. Create templates, checklists, guides, or step-by-step instructions that others can use. These documents become micro-assets that can be sold, licensed, or used to attract higher-paying opportunities. A graphic designer who creates a library of design templates can sell access to that library. A project manager who develops comprehensive project checklists can license them to other managers or consulting firms. Partnership agreements represent another underutilized asset category. Instead of doing all the work yourself, create partnerships where others do the work and you receive ongoing revenue. This might mean affiliate arrangements where you earn commissions on products you recommend, referral agreements where you receive payments for connecting buyers with sellers, or licensing deals where others pay to use your methods, content, or intellectual property. The transition from hourly thinking to asset thinking requires patience and a willingness to work without immediate payoff. Building an asset often means investing time, energy, and resources up front with no guarantee of return. This delayed gratification challenges most people's comfort zones. They prefer the security of immediate payment for immediate work. But this preference keeps them trapped in linear income growth, while asset builders achieve exponential results. Start by auditing your current activities through the asset lens. What knowledge do you possess that others would pay to access? What problems do you solve repeatedly that could be systematized and packaged? What relationships or connections could you formalize into ongoing revenue arrangements? What skills could you teach, license, or productize. The goal isn't to abandon all hourly work immediately. That's neither practical nor wise for most people. Instead, begin dedicating a portion of your biased time to asset creation while maintaining your current income streams. Even spending 1 hour per day on asset building can compound into significant results over months and years. Assets don't require perfection to begin generating value. Your first attempt at creating a course, template, guide, or product won't be perfect, and that's completely acceptable. The goal is to start, learn from the market response, and improve over time. Many successful assets began as simple experiments that grew through iteration and feedback. The wealthy understand that true financial freedom comes not from working harder or longer, but from owning things that generate value independently. They build portfolios of assets that create multiple income streams, reducing their dependence on any single source of money. While others are asking for raises or seeking second jobs, asset thinkers are creating new sources of income that flow regardless of their daily activities. Your transformation begins with a simple decision. Starting today, you'll view every skill you develop, every problem you solve, and every bit of knowledge you gain as potential asset material. You'll ask not just, how can I get paid for this work, but how can I create something from this work that continues paying me long after the work is done? This shift in thinking is the foundation upon which lasting wealth is built. 9. The 5% rule. Tiny edges, huge gains. Most people chase dramatic breakthroughs while overlooking the quiet power of marginal improvements. They dream of doubling their income overnight or finding the perfect investment that transforms their bank account in a single move. Meanwhile, those who build lasting wealth understand a different principle entirely. They know that small, consistent improvements in the right areas compound into massive results over time. This is the 5% rule. It states that tiny improvements in key areas of your financial life create disproportionately large gains. A 5% increase in your pricing, conversion rate, customer retention, or cost efficiency might seem insignificant at first glance. Yet when these small edges accumulate and compound, they transform your entire financial picture. Consider the mathematics of marginal gains. If you improve 5 different aspects of your income by just 5% each, you haven't achieved a 25% increase. The compound effect delivers something far more powerful. Each improvement multiplies with the others. A 5% better price, combined with 5% better conversion, and 5% better retention, doesn't add up linearly. It multiplies exponentially, often resulting in 30% to 40% improvements in your overall results. The beauty of this approach lies in its accessibility. Most people can find ways to improve their performance by 5% in various areas. It doesn't require revolutionary changes or extraordinary talent. It simply demands attention to detail and consistent execution of small refinements. The first step is identifying your key levers. These are the specific areas where small improvements create the biggest impact on your financial results. For someone selling products or services, the primary levers might include pricing, conversion rates, customer lifetime value, and operational costs. For an employee, the levers might involve skill development, relationship building, project completion speed, and value demonstration to leadership. Your levers are unique to your situation, but they share common characteristics. They directly influence your income or wealth-building capacity. They respond well to incremental improvements. They can be measured and tracked over time. Most importantly, they compound when improved simultaneously. Once you identify your top 3 levers, the real work begins. This isn't about making dramatic changes. Instead, you focus on systematic experimentation and refinement. Each week, you run small tests designed to push one of your levers up by that magical 5%. If pricing is a key lever, you might test a small price increase on new customers while maintaining current rates for existing ones. You measure the impact on demand, conversion, and total revenue. Often, you'll discover that raising prices by 5% to 10% has minimal impact on demand but significant impact on profitability. If conversion is your focus, you might refine your presentation, proposal, process, or sales conversations. Small changes in how you frame problems, present solutions, or handle objections can dramatically improve your success rate. You test one variable at a time, measure the results, and keep what works. The experimentation process requires patience and discipline. Not every test produces positive results. Some 5% attempts fall flat or even create temporary setbacks. This is expected and valuable. Each experiment teaches you something about your market, your customers, or your own capabilities. The failures guide you away from dead ends, while the successes compound into significant improvements. Tracking becomes essential to this process. You need clear baseline measurements for each lever you're trying to improve. Without knowing your current conversion rate, average sale price, or customer retention numbers, you cannot measure the impact of your experiments. Simple tracking systems work best. A basic spreadsheet or notebook where you record key metrics weekly provides enough data to spot trends and measure progress. The psychology of small improvements works in your favor in multiple ways. First, 5% changes rarely trigger significant resistance from customers, colleagues, or your own fear response. A small price increase doesn't shock customers the way a large one might. A slightly different approach to presentations doesn't create the anxiety that a complete overhaul would generate. Second, small wins build momentum and confidence. Each successful 5% improvement proves that progress is possible and provides motivation for the next experiment. This creates a positive feedback loop where success breeds more success. Third, competitors often overlook marginal improvements. They're busy chasing the next big thing, launching new products, or making dramatic strategic shifts. While they're focused on major moves, you're quietly accumulating dozens of small advantages that add up to a substantial competitive edge. The compound effect of these improvements extends beyond immediate financial gains. As you develop the habit of seeking and implementing marginal improvements, you become more observant, more analytical, and more responsive to opportunities. These skills transfer across all areas of your financial life. Your ability to spot inefficiencies improves. Your willingness to test new approaches grows. Your comfort with measurement and analysis develops. These capabilities make you more valuable in any role and more effective in any business venture. The 5% rule also protects you from the perfectionism trap that paralyzes many people. Instead of waiting for the perfect strategy, the ideal market conditions, or complete knowledge, you start improving immediately with the information and resources you have. This bias toward action, even small action, accelerates your progress dramatically. Time amplifies the power of marginal gains. A 5% improvement implemented once provides a temporary benefit. The same improvement implemented weekly for a year compounds into transformational change. This is why consistency matters more than the size of any individual improvement. The key insight is that wealthy people and successful businesses rarely achieve their results through single breakthrough moments. Instead, they accumulate hundreds of small advantages over time. Better systems, refined processes, improved relationships, enhanced skills, and optimized strategies combine to create what appears to be overnight success, but actually represents years of marginal improvements. Your wealth-building journey benefits enormously from this approach. Rather than waiting for the perfect investment opportunity or the ideal business idea, you start improving the financial activities you're already engaged in. Better negotiation skills, improved spending efficiency, enhanced earning strategies, and refined investment approaches each contribute small but meaningful improvements to your financial position. The compound effect ensures that these small improvements create lasting change. Unlike dramatic interventions that often fade over time, marginal improvements embed themselves into your systems and habits. They become part of how you naturally operate rather than special efforts you must maintain through willpower. This creates sustainable wealth building that accelerates over time rather than burning out. Each improvement makes the next one easier to identify and implement. Each success provides the confidence and resources to pursue bigger opportunities. The 5% rule becomes the foundation for much larger gains as your improved capabilities and systems create capacity for more significant moves. The most successful practitioners of this principle treat improvement as a regular practice rather than a one-time effort. They build weekly experimentation into their routines. They track their key levers consistently. They celebrate small wins while immediately planning the next test. Your transformation begins with identifying your first lever and designing your first 5% experiment. The size of the improvement matters less than starting the process. Once you experience the power of marginal gains firsthand, you'll understand why this quiet approach to wealth building often outperforms more dramatic strategies. Small edges, accumulated consistently over time, create huge gains that transform both your bank account and your approach to opportunity. The 5% rule isn't just a strategy for improvement. It's a mindset that turns everyday activities into wealth-building opportunities. 10. Networks are net worth. Your bank account is a direct reflection of the people in your circle. This isn't about using people or playing political games. It's about understanding a fundamental truth that wealthy people have known for centuries. Opportunities flow through relationships, not random chance. Most people think networking means collecting business cards at events or sending cold messages on social platforms. They approach it like a transaction, asking strangers for favors before building any real connection. This approach fails because it violates the basic principle of human nature. People help those they know, like, and trust. Everything else is just noise. The wealthy understand that every meaningful opportunity in their lives came through someone they knew. The business partnership that changed everything. The investment tip that multiplied their money. The introduction that opened doors they didn't even know existed. These didn't happen because they were lucky. They happened because they had systematically built relationships with people who could create such opportunities. Your network is not just the people you know directly. It includes everyone those people know, creating an exponential web of possibilities. When you help someone in your network, you're not just building goodwill with them. You're building goodwill with everyone they know and will meet in the future. This is how influence compounds over time. The mistake most people make is waiting until they need something before they start building relationships. By then, it's too late. Relationships are built on a foundation of giving value first, consistently, without expecting immediate returns. This creates a reservoir of goodwill that you can draw from when opportunities arise. Start with a Dream 25 strategy. Make a list of 25 people who, if they knew you well and thought highly of you, could significantly impact your financial future. These might include successful business owners in your field, influential people in your community, potential mentors, or simply people who are where you want to be financially. Don't worry if you don't know them yet. This is your target list. Your goal isn't to immediately reach out and ask these people for favors. Your goal is to find ways to provide value to them first. This might mean sharing an article that relates to their interests, making an introduction that could help their business, or simply engaging thoughtfully with content they share online. Every interaction should be about giving, not getting. The magic happens when you become known as someone who helps others succeed. When you consistently connect people who should know each other, share opportunities that don't fit you but might fit someone else, and celebrate others' wins publicly, you become a valuable node in the network. People remember who helped them, and they look for ways to return the favor. Create a simple system for managing these relationships. You don't need expensive software or complicated processes. A basic spreadsheet with names, contact information, notes about their interests and goals, and a record of your last interaction is enough. Set a reminder to reach out to a few people each week, not to ask for anything, but simply to maintain the connection. The weekly value loop is your relationship building engine. Every week, commit to 3 specific actions. First, share a win or piece of good news with your network. People like associating with positive, successful individuals. When you share your victories, you're not bragging, you're demonstrating that good things happen around you. Second, make at least one introduction between 2 people in your network who could benefit from knowing each other. This positions you as a connector and creates goodwill with both parties. Third, ask one thoughtful question or small favor that could lead to a meaningful conversation or opportunity. The key to asking for favors is timing and approach. Never lead with an ask when you're first building a relationship. Wait until you've provided value multiple times. When you do ask, make it specific, time-bounded, and easy to fulfill. Instead of asking someone to help you grow your business, ask if they know anyone who might benefit from a specific service you provide. Instead of asking for a job, ask for 15 minutes of their time to get advice on your career direction. Most importantly, always make it easy for people to help you. When someone offers to make an introduction, immediately provide them with a brief, clear description of who you're looking to meet and why. When someone agrees to look at your work or give feedback, send them exactly what you need reviewed with specific questions. Remove every bit of friction from the process of helping you. Networking is not about the quantity of people you know, but the depth and quality of those relationships. A few strong relationships with people who truly understand your goals and capabilities are worth more than hundreds of superficial connections. Focus on building real friendships based on mutual respect and shared interests, not just professional advancement. The compound effect of relationships takes time to manifest. You might help someone today and not see any direct benefit for months or years. But when opportunities do arise, they often come through channels you least expect. The person you helped with a small favor 2 years ago mentions your name in exactly the right conversation at exactly the right time. This is how careers are made and fortunes are built. Your reputation travels faster than you do. In our connected world, your network extends far beyond the people you've met personally. When you consistently demonstrate integrity, competence, and generosity, that reputation spreads through second and third-degree connections. People you've never met will know your name and think positively of you because of stories others have shared. Don't underestimate the power of weak ties. Some of your most valuable opportunities will come from acquaintances rather than close friends. This happens because your close friends move in similar circles and have access to similar information. Acquaintances bridge different worlds and can expose you to opportunities that would never reach your immediate circle. Stay connected with former colleagues, classmates, neighbors, and others who have moved into different industries or geographic areas. The digital age has made relationship building both easier and harder. Easier because you can stay in touch with far more people than ever before. Harder because the noise level is so high that genuine connections can get lost in the chaos. Focus on real conversations and meaningful interactions rather than just broadcasting to everyone at once. As your network grows and your reputation strengthens, you'll notice a shift. Instead of chasing opportunities, opportunities will start finding you. People will think of you when interesting projects arise. You'll be invited to participate in deals and ventures. Others will actively seek your advice and collaboration. This is when your network truly becomes net worth, generating financial returns that far exceed any direct income you might earn. The most successful people understand that wealth is rarely a solo journey. Behind every significant financial achievement is a network of relationships that made it possible. Start building yours today, one genuine connection at a time. Give first, give consistently, and trust that the returns will come in ways and at times you cannot predict, but will be grateful to receive. 11. The psychology of risk. Fear-proof your decisions. Fear is the silent thief of wealth. While most people think money problems come from math problems, the truth runs deeper. Every financial decision you make passes through an emotional filter first, and that filter is often clouded by ancient fears that have nothing to do with present reality. Your brain evolved over millions of years to keep you alive, not to make you wealthy. The same mental wiring that helped your ancestors avoid becoming dinner now sabotages your ability to build assets. Understanding this wiring and learning to work with it rather than against it transforms how you approach every opportunity and risk in your financial life. The first enemy you face is loss aversion, a quirk of human psychology where losing feels twice as painful as winning feels good. This means when you consider any financial move, your brain automatically weighs potential losses more heavily than potential gains. A chance to make 1,000 feels half as compelling as the fear of losing 500, even when the odds favor you heavily. Loss aversion shows up everywhere in your money decisions. You keep mediocre investments because selling means admitting a loss. You avoid starting a side business because you might waste time or money. You stick with underpaid jobs because switching feels risky. In each case, your brain prioritizes avoiding small, visible losses over pursuing large, less certain gains. The wealthy think differently about losses. They see small losses as tuition for bigger wins. They understand that avoiding all risk guarantees the biggest loss of all, the slow erosion of buying power, and opportunity cost of playing it too safe. They know that trying to lose nothing often means gaining nothing. Status quo bias amplifies this problem. Your mind treats the current situation as the default, making any change feel like a departure from safety. This bias makes staying put feel rational, even when staying put guarantees slow decline. Your current job, current investments, current habits, all benefit from this mental boost simply because they exist. Breaking status quo bias requires recognizing that the status quo is not actually safe. Inflation erodes cash. Skills become obsolete. Industries shift. The appearance of safety in standing still is often an illusion. Real safety comes from growing faster than the forces trying to diminish you. The barbell strategy offers a practical framework for managing these psychological traps. Instead of seeking the middle ground on every decision, you split your approach between extreme safety and extreme upside potential. Keep the majority of your assets in boring, predictable places while dedicating a smaller portion to high upside bets. This approach satisfies your brain's need for security while still positioning you for asymmetric gains. When the safe portion of your barbell represents enough to maintain your lifestyle, the risky portion can truly be risk capital. You can afford to lose it completely, which paradoxically makes you more likely to win because you will make better decisions when operating from abundance rather than desperation. The barbell applies beyond investing. In your career, maintain reliable income streams while building higher risk, higher reward skills or projects on the side. In learning, master fundamentals that will always matter while experimenting with emerging opportunities. In relationships, nurture your core network while expanding into new circles. Decision journals become essential tools for rewiring your risk perception. Most people make decisions, experience outcomes, then tell themselves stories about why things happened. These stories usually protect the ego rather than extract learning. A decision journal forces you to capture your reasoning before you know the outcome. Write down what decision you are making, what you expect to happen, what your concerns are, and what information you are basing this on. Include a confidence level and timeline for evaluation. This simple practice reveals patterns in your thinking that remain invisible otherwise. You discover whether you are consistently too optimistic, too pessimistic, or too influenced by recent events. The journal also protects you from hindsight bias, where your brain rewrites history to make past decisions seem more obvious than they actually were. When you review decisions months later, your original reasoning stares back at you unchanged. You can see which factors you consistently overweight or underweight. Pre-mortem analysis helps you think through risks without the paralysis that often accompanies formal planning. Before making any significant financial decision, spend time imagining that the decision failed completely. Work backwards from that imaginary failure to identify what could have gone wrong. This exercise surfaces potential problems, while you can still address them. The pre-mortem satisfies your brain's need to worry, while channeling that worry into productive preparation. Instead of vague anxiety about unspecified risks, you develop specific concerns and specific responses. This transforms fear from a paralyzing force into useful information. After-action reviews complete the learning loop by examining what actually happened compared to what you expected. Schedule these reviews when you make the original decision, not after outcomes become clear. Without scheduled reviews, you will conveniently forget to examine decisions that worked out poorly. Most losses in building wealth come from emotional decisions disguised as rational ones. You sell investments during market panic, telling yourself you are preserving capital. You avoid opportunities during uncertainty, calling it prudent risk management. You delay decisions, waiting for perfect information, labeling it thorough analysis. In each case, fear drives the choice, while logic provides the cover story. Recognizing this pattern is the first step to changing it. When you feel compelled to make any financial decision quickly, Pause and examine what emotion is driving the urgency. Fear disguises itself as logic, but it always carries emotional urgency. True logic rarely requires immediate action. Small risks become your training ground for larger opportunities. Your risk tolerance is like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise. Taking calculated risks with small amounts of money, time, or reputation builds your capacity to handle larger opportunities when they appear. Each small success expands your comfort zone. The key word is calculated. This does not mean taking foolish risks or gambling with money you cannot afford to lose. It means making thoughtful bets where the potential upside significantly exceeds the potential downside, even when the probability of success is uncertain. Start with risks so small that failure would be merely annoying rather than devastating. Launch a weekend project that might fail. Invest in learning something that might not pay off. Start a conversation that might lead nowhere. Each tiny risk taken and survived makes the next one feel more manageable. Your relationship with uncertainty determines your wealth trajectory more than your relationship with money itself. Uncertainty is where opportunities hide. If an outcome were guaranteed, competition would eliminate the profit margins. The highest returns flow to those willing to act despite incomplete information. This does not mean acting recklessly or ignoring obvious warning signs. It means distinguishing between risks worth taking and risks worth avoiding. Risks worth taking have limited downside and unlimited upside. Risks worth avoiding have unlimited downside regardless of upside potential. Time becomes your greatest ally in managing risk psychology. Most financial fears center on short-term volatility rather than long-term trends. Markets fluctuate daily but grow over decades. Businesses face quarterly challenges while building value over years. Skills feel worthless while developing but compound into expertise over time. Extending your time horizon transforms many apparent risks into manageable variations around positive trends. What feels dangerous in the moment often appears inevitable in retrospect. The wealthy understand this and make decisions based on longer-term trajectories rather than short-term fluctuations. Your psychology around risk will determine whether you join the small percentage who build significant wealth or remain with the majority who play it safe and wonder why their financial situation never improves. The choice is yours, but the decision cannot be delayed indefinitely. Inflation and opportunity cost ensure that refusing to choose is itself a choice. 12. Cash flow architecture. Pay yourself first. Money flows like water through your hands. Without proper channels, it pools in the wrong places or disappears altogether. Most people wonder where their paycheck went by the end of each month, watching dollars slip away on impulse purchases and forgotten subscriptions. They pay everyone else first and hope something remains for their future self. This backwards approach keeps them trapped in a cycle of financial stress, always one emergency away from disaster. The wealthy understand a fundamental truth about money management. You must direct your cash flow with intention, or it will find its own path to waste. They architect their money movement before it arrives, creating automatic systems that ensure their priorities get funded first. This isn't about complicated spreadsheets or obsessive penny pinching. It's about building simple, powerful structures that work without constant willpower or decision-making. The concept of paying yourself first revolutionizes how money moves through your life. Instead of saving whatever remains after expenses, you allocate money to your future wealth before touching anything else. This single shift transforms you from someone who hopes to save into someone who automatically builds assets. Your future self becomes your most important creditor, getting paid before the utility company, the landlord, or the restaurant down the street. Think of your income as a river flowing into your life each month. Without banks and channels, this river floods randomly across the landscape, creating muddy puddles instead of fertile farmland. Smart money management means building levees and irrigation systems that direct this flow exactly where you want it to go. Each dollar gets assigned a purpose before you even see it, flowing automatically into the right account for the right goal. The 4-account system creates this structure with elegant simplicity. Your income splits into 4 distinct streams, each serving a specific function in your wealth-building plan. The Essentials account handles your true needs: housing, food, transportation, and basic utilities. The Growth account feeds your future through investing and asset building. The Freedom account creates your safety net and opportunity fund. The Fun account ensures you can enjoy life without guilt or financial stress. Most people mix all these functions in one checking account, creating chaos and confusion. They use grocery money for investments, dip into emergency funds for vacations, and wonder why their financial progress feels so erratic. Separating these functions into distinct accounts creates clarity and removes daily decision-making from your money management. You know exactly how much you can spend on entertainment because that money sits in a dedicated account. You never accidentally spend your investment dollars because they flow directly into a separate growth fund. The percentages matter less than the habit of division itself. Start with whatever split feels manageable, even if it's just 5% to growth and 5% to freedom. The key is creating the automatic flow, not achieving perfect optimization from day one. A wealthy person might allocate 50% to essentials, 30% to growth, 15% to freedom, and 5% to fun. Someone just starting might use 70% for essentials, 10% each for growth and freedom, and 10% for fun. Your percentages will evolve as your income grows and expenses stabilize. Automation makes this system bulletproof. Set up automatic transfers that move money into each account the moment your paycheck arrives. This removes the temptation to spend first and save later, because the savings happen before you even see the money. Your bank becomes your financial assistant, quietly directing each dollar to its assigned purpose while you focus on earning more. The Essentials account covers only true necessities, not lifestyle inflation disguised as needs. Housing, basic food, reliable transportation, essential insurance, and minimum utilities qualify as essentials. The premium cable package, restaurant meals, designer clothes, and the larger apartment don't belong here. This account should feel slightly tight, creating natural pressure to increase income rather than expand expenses. Your Growth account becomes your wealth-building engine. Every dollar here gets invested in assets that compound over time. This might mean index funds, real estate, business investments, or skill development that increases your earning power. The Growth account never gets spent on consumption. It only flows toward things that create more money in the future. Treat this account like a one-way valve. Money goes in, but it never comes back out for daily expenses. The Freedom account creates options and peace of mind. This money handles emergencies, opportunity investments, and major purchases without disrupting your other financial flows. When the car needs repairs, the Freedom account covers it without touching your growth investments. When a business opportunity appears, you have capital ready to deploy. This account turns unexpected events from financial disasters into minor inconveniences. Don't underestimate the Fun account's importance in your financial architecture. Depriving yourself completely creates psychological pressure that eventually explodes into destructive spending sprees. Fun account gives you permission to enjoy money guilt-free because you've already handled all your other priorities. Whether you spend it on dinners out, hobbies, travel, or entertainment, this money exists purely for your immediate enjoyment. Buffer funds smooth the rough edges of irregular income or expenses. Keep a small amount in checking to handle timing mismatches between bills and paychecks. This buffer prevents overdraft fees and the stress of watching account balances too closely. A few $100s in buffer can eliminate most day-to-day money anxiety, giving you breathing room for life's minor fluctuations. Bill batching simplifies your money management by concentrating most payments into 1 or 2 days per month. Instead of bills trickling out randomly throughout the month, schedule as many as possible to hit right after your payday. This creates clear periods when money flows out and clear periods when you can see exactly what remains for discretionary spending. Batching also reduces the mental overhead of constantly managing payments and due dates. The magic happens in the consistency, not the perfection. Your cash flow architecture works best when it runs automatically in the background of your life. You stop thinking about whether you can afford something because the system has already made those decisions. You stop worrying about saving money because it happens before you can spend it. You stop feeling guilty about fun purchases because you've allocated money specifically for enjoyment. This system scales beautifully as your income grows. Double your salary, and every account doubles proportionally. Your Essentials account gives you more breathing room. Your Growth account accelerates wealth building. Your Freedom account creates bigger opportunities, and your Fun account allows for greater enjoyment. The percentages might shift as you optimize, but the core structure remains solid regardless of income level. Start building your cash flow architecture today, even if your income feels too small to matter. The habits you develop now will serve you when larger amounts flow through your system. Begin with automatic transfers, even if they're tiny. Create the accounts, set the percentages, and let the system run. Your future wealth depends not on earning more money, but on directing the money you earn toward building assets instead of funding consumption. The wealthy didn't get rich by accident. They built systems that automatically funnel money toward wealth-building activities. Your cash flow architecture becomes the foundation for everything else: investing, risk management, opportunity capture, and financial peace of mind. Master the flow of money through your accounts, and you master the creation of lasting wealth. 13. Investing on autopilot. Simple systems, big results. The most dangerous person in the investment world isn't the one who takes wild risks or chases hot tips. It's the person who knows exactly what they decided, should do, but never actually does it. They read the books, understand the principles, and can explain compound interest at dinner parties. Yet their money sits in checking accounts earning nothing while they wait for the perfect moment to begin. This paralysis happens because we've been taught that investing is complex, requiring deep expertise and constant attention. The financial industry profits from this myth. The more complicated they make it seem, the more you need their expensive advice and products. But the truth is simpler than they want you to believe. The most successful long-term investors use boring, automatic systems that require almost no ongoing decisions. Think of investing like planting a garden. You don't need to be a botanist to grow vegetables. You need good seeds, decent soil, regular watering, and patience. The magic happens underground while you're sleeping. Your job isn't to make the plants grow faster by pulling on them. Your job is to create the right conditions and stay out of the way. The wealthy understand this principle instinctively. They set up systems that work without them, then focus their mental energy on earning more money to feed those systems. They know that time in the market beats timing the market every single time. While others are trying to predict the next crash or boom, they're quietly and consistently moving money from their paychecks into investments that grow over decades. Dollar cost averaging forms the foundation of this approach. Instead of trying to buy investments when prices are low, you buy the same amount at regular intervals regardless of price. When prices are high, your money buys fewer shares. When prices are low, it buys more shares. Over time, you end up with an average price that smooths out the ups and downs of market volatility. This strategy removes emotion from investing. You're not making decisions based on fear when markets crash or greed when they soar. You're following a predetermined plan that works in all market conditions. The system is more disciplined than you could ever be manually because it doesn't have feelings about money or markets. Index funds make this strategy even more powerful. Rather than trying to pick individual winners, you own tiny pieces of hundreds or thousands of companies. When some companies struggle, others thrive. Your returns follow the overall growth of the economy rather than the fate of specific businesses. You're betting on human ingenuity and progress rather than your ability to predict which companies will succeed. The beauty of index funds is their simplicity. You don't need to research companies, read financial statements, or follow industry trends. You don't need to worry about whether your fund manager is skilled enough to beat the market. The fund simply owns everything in proportion to its size, giving you automatic diversification with minimal fees. Asset allocation determines how much risk you take and how much growth you can expect. Younger people can afford more volatility because they have decades for their investments to recover from temporary losses. Older people need more stability because they might need their money soon. A simple rule suggests subtracting your age from 100 to determine what percentage should go into growth investments like stock index funds, with the rest in stable investments like bond index funds. But these are guidelines, not rules carved in stone. Your personal situation matters more than generic formulas. If you have steady income and won't need your investment money for many years, you can afford to take more risk for potentially higher returns. If you worry constantly about market movements, you might need more conservative investments to sleep well at night. The key is choosing an allocation you can stick with during both bull and bear markets. The perfect strategy you abandon during a scary market decline is worthless. The good enough strategy you maintain for 20 years will make you wealthy. Consistency trumps optimization every single time. Rebalancing keeps your allocation on track as markets move. If you want 60% in stocks and 40% in bonds, rising stock prices will eventually push you to 70% stocks and 30% bonds. Rebalancing means selling some of the investments that have gone up and buying more of the investments that have gone down, bringing you back to your target allocation. This forces you to buy low and sell high automatically. When stocks have had a great run, you sell some and buy bonds. When stocks have crashed, you sell bonds and buy more stocks. It's counterintuitive but incredibly effective. You're constantly moving money from whatever has done well recently to whatever is currently unpopular. Quarterly rebalancing works well for most people. More frequent rebalancing creates unnecessary trading costs and taxes. Less frequent rebalancing lets your allocation drift too far from your target. 4 times per year gives you enough control without becoming a burden. Your investment policy statement captures all these decisions on a single page. Write down your target allocation, your rebalancing schedule, and your contribution plan. Include your time horizon and risk tolerance. Most importantly, write down what you'll do when markets crash. Having a predetermined plan prevents you from making emotional decisions when fear is highest. This document becomes your North Star during turbulent times. When headlines scream about market crashes and your friends panic about their losses, you can refer to your plan and stay the course. You expected volatility and prepared for it. You know that temporary losses are the price of long-term gains. Automation makes the whole system effortless. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your investment account on the same day you receive your paycheck. Set up automatic purchases of your chosen index funds. Set up automatic rebalancing if your investment platform offers it. The less you have to think about or touch your investments, the better they'll perform. Many people resist automation because they want to feel in control of their money. But manual control leads to poor timing, missed contributions, and emotional decisions. The automation isn't taking away your control. It's implementing the decisions you made when you were thinking clearly and rationally. Start with whatever amount feels comfortable, even if it's small. The habit matters more than the amount in the beginning. You can always increase your contributions as your income grows or as you become more comfortable with investing. But you can't go back in time to capture years of compound growth you missed while waiting to begin. The hardest part of investing isn't learning complex strategies or predicting market movements. It's starting before you feel ready and continuing when it feels scary. The market will crash while you're invested. You'll see your account balance drop and wonder if you made a mistake. You'll be tempted to sell everything and wait for clarity. These moments separate successful investors from everyone else. The successful ones remember that they're not buying pieces of paper that fluctuate in price. They're buying ownership stakes in human productivity and innovation. As long as people continue creating value, solving problems, and building businesses, their investments will grow over time. The simple system outlined here has created more millionaires than any complex strategy ever could. It requires no special knowledge, minimal time, and works in any market environment. The only things it demands are patience and consistency. Start today, automate everything you can, and let compound interest work its magic while you focus on earning more money to feed the system. 14. Make recession your season. Anti-fragile moves. When most people hear the word recession, their minds immediately jump to images of financial ruin, job losses, and economic devastation. The wealthy think differently. They see downturns as the universe's way of putting assets on sale and clearing out the competition. While others retreat in fear, those with a wealth mindset advance with purpose. The fundamental truth about economic cycles is that they transfer wealth from the unprepared to the prepared. Every recession creates millionaires. Every downturn redistributes resources from those who panic to those who plan. The question isn't whether another economic challenge will come. It's whether you'll be positioned to benefit when it arrives. Most people approach uncertainty by trying to predict exactly when trouble will strike and how severe it will be. This is the wrong game entirely. You can't control the timing or magnitude of economic storms, but you can absolutely control your preparation and response. The wealthy focus on building anti-fragility rather than just resilience. Resilience means you can survive difficult times. Anti-fragility means you actually get stronger during difficult times. The foundation of recession-proofing your finances starts with understanding what actually happens during economic downturns. Markets overreact in both directions. Fear becomes contagious, and people make decisions based on emotion rather than math. Valuable assets get sold at discount prices because owners need immediate cash. Businesses with weak foundations fail, creating opportunities for those with stronger positioning. People with cash and courage can acquire quality investments at prices that seemed impossible just months earlier. Your first line of defense is building what the wealthy call a liquidity cushion. This goes beyond the traditional advice of keeping 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings. You want enough liquid resources to not just survive a downturn, but to thrive during one. This means having cash available to take advantage of opportunities while others are forced to sell. The exact amount depends on your situation, but the principle remains constant. Hold enough liquid assets that you never have to sell anything at the wrong time. Think of liquidity as offensive power disguised as defensive preparation. Cash sitting in your account might seem boring when everything else is going up, but it becomes your secret weapon when everything else is going down. While others watch their net worth shrink and stress about making ends meet, you're scanning for bargains and planning your next move. This mental state difference alone creates massive advantages. Your skill set becomes your second layer of protection. But not all skills are created equal during difficult times. You want what we call barbell skills, abilities that become more valuable during both good times and bad times. These include fundamental human needs like solving problems, creating value, and building relationships. They also include recession-resistant capabilities like fixing things, teaching others, and managing resources efficiently. The wealthy deliberately develop multiple income streams before they need them. When one source gets disrupted, others can compensate or even accelerate. This isn't about having 7 different jobs, it's about creating diverse ways that your value reaches the marketplace. Maybe you have your primary work, plus you teach others your expertise, plus you have investments that generate cash flow, plus you have valuable items you could sell if needed. Each stream doesn't need to be huge, but together they create stability and options. During uncertain times, demand shifts rather than disappears entirely. People still need solutions, they just need different solutions, or they need the same solutions delivered differently. Your job is to understand how your value proposition adapts to changing circumstances. If you normally help people grow their businesses, you might shift to helping them preserve their businesses. If you usually teach advanced techniques, you might focus on fundamentals. The core value remains. The packaging evolves. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming they need to completely change direction when times get tough. Usually, you need to adjust your approach rather than abandon your strengths. The carpenter doesn't stop building during a recession. They start focusing on repairs and renovations instead of new construction. The consultant doesn't quit consulting. They help clients optimize costs instead of expand operations. Your fundamental capabilities remain valuable. You just apply them to different problems. The wealthy also understand that downturns accelerate trends that were already happening rather than creating entirely new realities. Technology adoption happens faster when people have more time and less money. Online alternatives gain ground when traditional options become too expensive. Efficiency becomes prioritized over convenience. If you can identify which direction things were already moving and position yourself ahead of that curve, disruption becomes opportunity. Building your downturn playbook starts with mapping out different scenarios and your response to each. You don't need to predict which scenario will happen, you just need clear action plans for the most likely possibilities. If your income dropped by 20%, what would you do? If it dropped by 50%? If great investment opportunities appeared but required immediate cash, how would you access that cash? If your industry got disrupted but your skills remained valuable, how would you pivot? This scenario planning removes the emotional component from decision-making. When stress hits, you won't be figuring out your options for the first time. You'll be executing plans you've already thought through clearly. This gives you tremendous advantages in speed and confidence, while others are still trying to understand what's happening. Your investment approach during uncertain times should follow the same principles that work during stable times, just with more attention to quality and patience. The best investments during downturns are usually the same assets that perform well over long periods, purchased at temporary discount prices. Real estate in good locations with strong fundamentals. Shares of companies with solid business models and healthy balance sheets. Skills and relationships that create lasting value. The key difference is having the financial and emotional capacity to buy when others are selling. This requires both the cash resources and the mental framework to act when everything feels risky. Most people do the opposite. They buy when things feel safe, which is usually when prices are high, and they sell when things feel dangerous, which is usually when prices are low. Your personal balance sheet should be structured to take advantage of volatility rather than just survive it. This means avoiding excessive debt that could force you to sell at bad times. It means keeping your fixed expenses low enough that you have flexibility when income varies. It means building multiple backup plans so you're never dependent on any single source of money or opportunity. The wealthy also prepare psychologically for downturns by studying how they've responded to past challenges. What decisions did you make during previous difficult periods? Which ones worked out well and which ones you regret? What patterns do you notice in your thinking and behavior under stress? This self-awareness helps you make better choices when the next test arrives. Your response to adversity becomes part of your reputation and relationships. People notice who panics and who stays calm. They remember who looks for solutions versus who just complains about problems. They observe who helps others during tough times versus who only focuses on themselves. These observations create long-term opportunities that extend far beyond any single economic cycle. The ultimate recession-proofing strategy is building genuine value that people need, regardless of economic conditions. When you solve important problems, when you create meaningful improvements in people's lives, when you build things that last, you become recession-resistant by becoming genuinely valuable. The economy might change how people pay for your value or how much they can pay, but it doesn't eliminate the underlying demand for real solutions to real problems. Your goal isn't to get rich during the next downturn, although that might happen. Your goal is to be positioned so that economic uncertainty becomes a source of opportunity rather than anxiety. When you achieve this positioning, you've transformed from someone who hopes things stay stable to someone who can prosper regardless of what happens next. 15. Create while you sleep. Digital income plays. The most powerful shift in building wealth happens when you stop trading hours for dollars and start creating value that works around the comment clock. While you sleep, eat dinner with family, or take a vacation, your digital assets can be generating income. This isn't about getting rich quick or building some massive online empire overnight. It's about understanding that in our connected world, you can package your knowledge, skills, and insights into products that serve people repeatedly without requiring your constant presence. Think about the last time you bought a book, downloaded a template, or purchased an online course. The person who created that product earned money from your purchase, whether they were actively working at that moment or not. They solved a problem once, packaged the solution, and now it generates income indefinitely. This is the power of digital income streams, and anyone with knowledge worth sharing can tap into this opportunity. The beauty of digital products lies in their infinite distribution potential. When you create something physical, you're limited by materials, storage, and shipping. Digital products have none of these constraints. You can sell the same digital course to one person or 10,000 people without additional production costs. Your template can be downloaded by someone in your hometown or halfway around the world. This scalability transforms how you think about income generation. Many people overcomplicate the process of creating digital income streams. They assume they need to be recognized experts or have massive audiences before they can start. This thinking keeps them stuck in preparation mode forever. The truth is that you already know things that others would pay to learn. You've solved problems that others are currently struggling with. You've developed systems and processes that could save others time and frustration. The key is recognizing this value and packaging it in a way that helps people. Start by examining your own experience and expertise. What challenges have you overcome in your work or personal life? What skills have you developed that others ask you about? What processes have you created that consistently produce good results? These are the seeds of valuable digital products. You don't need to be the world's leading expert to create something useful. You just need to be a few steps ahead of the people you're trying to help. The simplest digital products often perform the best because they solve specific problems clearly. A checklist that helps people avoid common mistakes, a template that saves hours of work, or a short guide that walks someone through a process can be incredibly valuable. These products don't require months of development or thousands of dollars in production costs. You can create them in a weekend and start generating income immediately. Consider the concept of a minimum valuable product. Instead of trying to create the comprehensive course or the ultimate guide, focus on creating the smallest thing that provides genuine value. This might be a simple worksheet that helps people calculate something important, an email sequence that teaches a valuable skill over 5 days, or a short video series that demonstrates a useful technique. Once you prove that people find value in your approach, you can expand and develop more comprehensive offerings. Digital income streams work best when they align with problems you understand deeply. If you've struggled with organization and developed systems that work, create templates and guides around organization. If you've learned to manage difficult conversations at work, share frameworks that help others navigate similar situations. If you've figured out how to save money on household expenses, package your strategies into actionable guides. The problems you've personally solved are often the ones you can teach others to solve most effectively. The key to sustainable digital income is serving your audience consistently over time. This doesn't mean constantly creating new products, but rather ensuring that what you create genuinely helps people achieve their desired outcomes. When your digital products deliver real results, customers become advocates who recommend your work to others. This word-of-mouth marketing is far more powerful and cost-effective than any advertising you could buy. Building digital income streams also requires understanding the basics of how people discover and purchase digital products. They need to find you, understand what you're offering, see proof that it works, and feel confident that it will help them. This process doesn't require sophisticated marketing funnels or complex sales systems. It requires clear communication about the problem you solve, evidence that your solution works, and a simple way for people to purchase and access what you're offering. Many successful digital products start as free content that demonstrates value. When you consistently share helpful insights, practical tips, or useful tools, you build trust with an audience. Some of these people will eventually want deeper, more comprehensive help, and that's where your paid products come in. Your free content serves as both a way to help people and a demonstration of the value they'll receive from your paid offerings. The timing for creating digital income streams has never been better. People are increasingly comfortable purchasing and consuming digital products. The tools for creating and distributing digital content are simpler and more affordable than ever. You can record videos on your phone, create documents in basic word processing software, and sell your products through platforms that handle payments and delivery automatically. Pricing digital products often confuses new creators, but the key principle is to price based on the value you provide, not the time you spent creating the product. If your template saves someone 10 hours of work, it's worth far more than if you priced it based on the 2 hours it took you to create. If your guide helps someone avoid a costly mistake, the Sonneman episode, price should reflect that prevention value. People pay for outcomes and results, not for the effort that went into creation. Consistency matters more than perfection when building digital income streams. It's better to create and launch simpler products regularly than to spend months perfecting one comprehensive offering. Each product you release teaches you something about what your audience values, how to communicate more effectively, and how to improve your creation process. This learning compounds over time, making each subsequent product better and more successful. The goal isn't to replace all your income with digital products immediately. Start by creating one simple product and focusing on making that first dollar from something you created. This psychological shift from earning only through direct work to earning through products you've created is powerful. Once you experience the satisfaction of earning money from something that didn't require your direct time, you'll to understand the potential of digital income streams. Your digital products become assets that work for you continuously. Unlike hourly work that stops paying when you stop working, digital products can generate income months or years after you create them. They become part of your wealth-building system, contributing to your financial security and freedom. As you build a collection of valuable digital products, they create multiple income streams that reduce your dependence on any single source of money. The most important step is to start. Pick one problem you can solve, create one simple digital product that addresses it, and put it out into the world. You'll learn more from launching your first imperfect product than from months of planning and preparation. Your digital income journey begins with that first sale to someone who values what you've created enough to pay for it. 16. Negotiate everything. The silent raise. Most people leave thousands of dollars on the table every year because they never ask. They accept the first offer, pay the asking price, and assume the number presented is final. This is financial self-sabotage disguised as politeness. Every interaction involving money is a negotiation, whether you participate or not. The difference is that when you don't negotiate, the other party sets all the terms. Negotiation is not about being aggressive or manipulative. It's about having conversations that create mutual value while ensuring you receive fair compensation for what you bring. The wealthy understand this deeply. They negotiate not because they're greedy, but because they recognize that everything is negotiable when approached with the right mindset and preparation. The foundation of effective negotiation lies in understanding that most initial offers have room for improvement. Whether it's your salary, the price of services, or the terms of any agreement, the first number presented is rarely the final number. The person making the offer expects negotiation. They've likely built flexibility into their initial position. When you accept immediately, you're not being easy to work with. You're leaving value on the table that was already allocated for the negotiation process. Preparation transforms your negotiating power more than any single tactic. Before any important negotiation, create what successful people call a proof packet. This documents your value, achievements, and market research that supports your position. If you're negotiating your salary, gather evidence of your contributions, the impact you've made, and what similar roles pay in your market. If you're negotiating with a vendor, research alternative options and understand the true cost of switching. Information is leverage, and preparation is how you gather that information systematically. Anchoring is perhaps the most powerful negotiation concept you can master. The first number mentioned in any negotiation disproportionately influences the final outcome. This happens because human brains use the initial number as a reference point for what seems reasonable. If you're negotiating your compensation and the employer offers $50,000, your counteroffer of $55,000 feels reasonable to both parties. But if you had anchored first at $70,000, that same $55,000 would feel low, and the employer might offer $62,000 to meet in the middle. The key to effective anchoring is making your first number aggressive but defensible. It should stretch the boundaries of what's possible while remaining grounded in reality. Going back to the salary example, if market research shows your role typically pays between $55,000 and $70,000, anchoring at $75,000 stretches the range without becoming ridiculous. You need to be prepared to justify this number with evidence, but the psychological impact of starting higher will lift the entire negotiation range. Multiple options dramatically increase your success rate. Instead of presenting a single proposal, offer 3 choices that all work for you. This technique, sometimes called MESO, multiple equivalent simultaneous offers, gives the other party a sense of control while ensuring you get something valuable regardless of which option they choose. If you're negotiating work arrangements, you might offer 3 packages: higher base salary, same salary with better benefits and flexible schedule, or lower base salary with performance bonuses that could exceed the original higher base. Each option should be genuinely attractive to you, but appeal to different priorities the other party might have. Some employers value cost control, others prioritize performance incentives, and still others want to minimize administrative complexity. By offering multiple paths forward, you increase the chances that one will align with their preferences while achieving your underlying objectives. Timing can make the difference between yes and no. The same request that gets rejected on Monday morning might be approved on Friday afternoon. The same proposal that fails in January could succeed in March. Understanding the rhythms and pressures of the person you're negotiating with allows you to choose moments when they're most likely to say yes. For salary negotiations, timing often aligns with budget cycles, performance reviews, or after you've delivered significant value. For vendor negotiations, timing might align with their sales quotas, seasonal patterns, or when they're competing for your business against others. The wealthy pay attention to these patterns because they understand that what you ask for matters, but when you ask for it can matter just as much. Silence is your secret weapon. Most people are uncomfortable with quiet moments in conversation, and they'll fill that silence by talking. In negotiation, the person who speaks first after an offer is made is usually the one who compromises. When someone presents their terms, acknowledge that you heard them, then pause. Count to 5 in your head. Let them fill the silence. They might improve their offer without you saying anything, or they might reveal information about their priorities and constraints that you can use to craft a better response. This technique requires practice because staying quiet feels unnatural when someone is waiting for your response. But that discomfort you feel is exactly what motivates the other party to speak first. They want to resolve the tension, and often they'll do so by moving toward your position. The negotiation begins long before the conversation. Your reputation, relationships, and track record create the context in which any specific negotiation takes place. When people know you deliver exceptional value, they're more willing to meet your price. When they trust you and want to maintain a long-term relationship, they're more flexible on terms. When they see you as someone with other options, they're more motivated to keep you happy. This means that negotiation is really about the value you create and communicate every day. The person who consistently exceeds expectations, builds strong relationships, and demonstrates their worth doesn't have to negotiate as hard when the formal conversation happens. The groundwork has already been laid. Documentation protects both parties and creates accountability. When you reach an agreement, summarize the key points in writing and confirm that everyone understands the terms the same way. This prevents misunderstandings and provides a reference point if questions arise later. It also demonstrates your professionalism and attention to detail, which builds trust for future negotiations. The best negotiations feel collaborative rather than adversarial. Both parties should feel like they got something valuable from the conversation. This requires understanding what the other person really needs, not just what they say they want. Sometimes their stated position masks an underlying concern that you can address in ways that don't cost you anything. Perhaps they claim they can't increase your salary, but what they really need is budget predictability. You might negotiate a smaller base increase with clearly defined performance bonuses that give you upside while giving them cost control. Perhaps a vendor won't lower their price, but they value long-term relationships. You might negotiate the same total cost with better payment terms or additional services included. Practice makes perfect, but most people only negotiate occasionally for high-stakes outcomes. This creates unnecessary pressure and limits skill development. Instead, look for low-pressure opportunities to practice negotiation techniques. Ask for small upgrades, negotiate minor purchases, or request better terms on routine services. These conversations don't matter much individually, but they build your comfort and competence for when bigger opportunities arise. The wealthy negotiate everything not because every dollar matters equally, but because the skill of negotiation compounds over time. Each conversation builds your confidence, teaches you something about human psychology, and creates a reputation as someone who knows their worth. These benefits extend far beyond any individual transaction. Your next negotiation opportunity is closer than you think. It might be asking for better terms from a current client, requesting a raise or promotion, or simply getting a better price on something you need to buy anyway. The key is recognizing these moments and preparing to engage thoughtfully rather than accepting whatever terms are initially offered. 17. Brand you. Become opportunity magnetic. Your reputation arrives before you do and leaves long after you're gone. In a world where trust is the ultimate currency, your personal brand isn't just marketing fluff. It's the invisible force that either attracts wealth-building opportunities or repels them. Most people stumble through life with an accidental brand, hoping their work speaks for itself. But here's the truth. Your work can't speak if no one knows it exists, and even excellent work gets ignored when it comes from someone perceived as ordinary. Think of personal branding as compound interest for your career. Every interaction, every piece of content, every conversation either adds to or subtracts from your reputation account. The wealthy understand this instinctively. They don't just do good work, they ensure the right people know about their good work. They position themselves not as generic providers, but as the obvious choice for specific, valuable problems. The foundation of magnetic personal branding rests on 3 pillars: positioning, proof, and platform. Most people get this backwards, starting with the platform rushing to create content before they've clarified what they stand for or gathered evidence of their capabilities. This approach creates noise, not magnetism. Wealth-attracting brands start with crystal-clear positioning. Positioning is your answer to the question, what do you want to be known for? This isn't about listing your skills or describing your job title. It's about claiming a specific space in people's minds. When someone has a particular problem or need, you want to be the first person they think of. This requires ruthless focus. You can't be known for everything, so choose the one thing that matters most for your wealth-building goals. The most powerful positioning combines 3 elements: a specific audience, a particular problem, and a unique angle or methodology. Instead of saying, "I help people with their finances," a wealth magnetic position might be, "I help high-earning professionals who are terrible savers build automatic wealth systems." The specificity isn't limiting, it's liberating. It gives people a clear reason to remember and recommend you. Your positioning becomes magnetic when it's both narrow enough to be memorable and valuable enough to be worth paying for. Test your positioning by asking, would someone pay good money to solve this specific problem? Can I become genuinely excellent at this particular thing? Does this align with where I want my career to go? If any answer is no, refine until all 3 are yes. Once your positioning is clear, you need proof. Proof is what transforms positioning from wishful thinking into credible reality. It's the evidence that you can actually deliver on your claimed expertise. Without proof, even the best positioning sounds like empty promises. With compelling proof, your positioning becomes undeniably attractive. Proof comes in many forms, but the most powerful is results-specific outcomes you've created for others or yourself. These might be financial improvements, problem solutions, or transformations you facilitated. The key is specificity. Vague claims like, "I help people succeed," carry no weight. Specific proof like, "I helped 3 clients increase their income by an average of 40% within 6 months, using my 5-step process," creates instant credibility. If you're early in your journey and lack extensive results, create proof through demonstration. Publish your thinking, share your methods, document your own journey. Show people how you approach problems, not just that you can solve them. This builds trust and demonstrates competence even before you have a long client list. The most overlooked form of proof is your story, the unique experiences and perspectives that led to your current expertise. People connect with stories more than statistics. Your background, challenges overcome, and lessons learned create a narrative that competitors can't replicate. Don't underestimate the power of your personal journey as proof of your understanding and authenticity. Building proof requires consistent documentation. Create a habit of capturing and sharing your work, wins, and insights. This isn't bragging, it's Evidence collection. Keep a running list of results, testimonials, media mentions, and notable projects. When opportunities arise, you'll have proof ready to share instead of scrambling to remember your accomplishments. The third pillar, platform, is where many people start, but should come last. Your platform is how you consistently reach and serve your audience. It's not about being everywhere, it's about being consistently valuable in the places where your ideal opportunities spend their attention. Choose platforms based on where your audience gathers, not where you're most comfortable. If your target clients read industry publications, focus on getting featured in those publications. If they attend specific conferences, become a regular speaker at those events. If they're active in particular online communities, become a valuable contributor to those communities. The key to platform building is consistency over perfection. Regular, helpful content beats occasional, brilliant content. Your goal isn't to go viral, it's to build trust and demonstrate expertise over time. This requires showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it, even when engagement is low, even when progress seems slow. Develop a simple content system that you can maintain long-term. This might be writing 2 articles per week, recording 1 video per week, or sharing daily insights. Whatever system you choose, make it sustainable. It's better to publish consistently for years than to burn out after a few months of intensive effort. Your content should follow a simple formula: valuable insight plus personal perspective. Share what you're learning, thinking, and discovering. Explain complex topics in simple terms. Offer frameworks and tools that people can immediately use. The goal isn't to give away everything for free, it's to demonstrate the quality of your thinking and the depth of your expertise. Your personal brand isn't just what you say about yourself, it's what others experience when they interact with you. Every email, every conversation, every piece of work contributes to your reputation. Consistency across all touch points builds trust and recognition. The wealthy understand that personal branding is a long-term investment, not a quick fix. It takes time to build recognition and trust, but once established, a strong personal brand creates compound returns. Opportunities flow to people with clear, credible, visible expertise. Premium pricing becomes possible when you're seen as a specialist rather than a generalist. Start building your magnetic personal brand by clarifying your positioning, documenting your proof, and choosing one platform for consistent value delivery. Your future wealth depends not just on your ability to create value, but on your ability to communicate that value to the people who matter most. In a noisy world, clarity and consistency win. Make yourself unmistakably valuable, and wealth-building opportunities will find. 18. The 1-year wealth sprint. Plan, scoreboard, momentum. Most people treat wealth building like a casual hobby. They dabble here and there, make a few changes when they feel motivated, then drift back to old patterns when life gets busy. This scattered approach explains why so few people ever achieve true financial freedom. Wealth isn't built through random acts of good intention. It's built through sustained, focused effort applied consistently over time. The difference between those who break through to real wealth and those who stay stuck isn't talent, luck, or starting capital. It's the willingness to treat wealth building like a sport where you keep score, track your progress, and stay in the game long enough for compound growth to work its magic. This is why the 1-year wealth sprint exists. It transforms wealth building from a vague aspiration into a concrete gain with clear rules, measurable progress, and built-in momentum. Think about any meaningful achievement in your life. Whether it was learning a skill, completing a degree, or reaching a fitness goal, success came through sustained focus over an extended period. You didn't achieve it by working intensely for a few days, then forgetting about it for months. You showed up consistently, measured your progress, and adjusted your approach based on what was working. Wealth building requires the same disciplined approach. The 1-year wealth sprint breaks this journey into 4 distinct cycles of 12 weeks each. This time frame is long enough to see real progress, but short enough to maintain focus and intensity. Within each cycle, you'll identify specific targets, track key metrics weekly, and conduct thorough reviews every quarter. This structure creates a rhythm of planning, execution, measurement, and refinement that keeps you moving forward even when motivation wanes. The foundation of your sprint begins with choosing the right scoreboards. Unlike traditional goal setting that focuses on distant outcomes, your wealth sprint tracks both leading indicators and lagging results. Your primary scoreboard includes 3 essential metrics that capture the full picture of your financial progress. Net worth delta measures your overall wealth trajectory by tracking the change in your total assets minus liabilities from quarter to quarter. Savings rate reveals how efficiently you're converting income into wealth by calculating the percentage of earnings you're retaining and investing. Income streams count the number of different ways money flows into your life, showing your progress toward financial resilience. These 3 numbers tell a complete story. Net worth delta shows whether you're actually building wealth over time, not just earning and spending. Savings rate indicates the sustainability of your wealth-building process and your ability to live below your means while still investing in growth. Income streams reveal your progress toward the kind of diversified cash flow that creates true financial security. Together, they give you a clear picture of where you stand and which direction you're heading. The 12-week cycle structure creates natural checkpoints for evaluation and course correction. Each cycle begins with a planning phase, where you identify the specific actions and outcomes you'll focus on for the next 3 months. This isn't about setting massive, overwhelming targets. Instead, you choose 3 to 5 key objectives that will meaningfully move your wealth building forward if achieved consistently over the cycle. During the execution phase, you track your progress weekly through simple measurements and brief check-ins. This isn't about perfection or hitting every single target every week. It's about maintaining awareness and momentum while identifying patterns in your behavior and results. The weekly rhythm keeps you connected to your goals without becoming obsessive or overwhelming. The quarterly review phase brings everything together. Through honest assessment and strategic planning for the next cycle, you examine what worked, what didn't, and why. You celebrate genuine progress while identifying the obstacles and patterns that held you back. Most importantly, you use these insights to design an even more effective approach for the upcoming cycle. Creating your wealth dashboard transforms abstract financial concepts into concrete visual feedback. This doesn't require complex software or elaborate tracking systems. A simple spreadsheet or even a handwritten chart can capture the essential information you need to stay on track. The key is consistency in measurement and regular review of the data. Your dashboard should be simple enough to update weekly without becoming a burden, but comprehensive enough to show meaningful trends over time. Track your net worth monthly by calculating total assets minus total liabilities. Monitor your savings rate by dividing the amount you save and invest each month by your total income. Count your income streams by listing each distinct source of money flowing into your life, from primary employment to side projects to investment returns. The power of the dashboard isn't in the precision of the numbers, but in the awareness it creates. When you track these metrics consistently, patterns emerge that guide your decisions. You might notice that your savings rate drops in certain months due to predictable expenses, allowing you to plan ahead. You might see that focusing on one income stream for several weeks produces better results than scattered efforts across multiple projects. Accountability becomes crucial during your wealth sprint, because sustained effort over a full year requires external support and gentle pressure. The most effective approach involves finding 1 or 2 other people who are equally committed to their own wealth-building journey. You meet regularly, share progress honestly, and provide encouragement during difficult periods. This accountability partnership works best when it focuses on process rather than outcomes. Instead of comparing net worth numbers or income levels, you share the actions you're taking and the consistency of your efforts. You discuss challenges you're facing and brainstorm solutions together. You celebrate the completion of cycles and the achievement of process goals rather than just financial milestones. The monthly rhythm of accountability meetings provides regular checkpoints without becoming overwhelming. During these sessions, you review your dashboard numbers, share insights from the past month, and commit to specific actions for the upcoming month. The simple act of knowing you'll report your progress to someone else creates a gentle but persistent motivation to stay consistent. Momentum builds naturally when you combine clear measurement with regular accountability and consistent action. The first cycle often feels challenging as you establish new habits and systems. The second cycle typically brings the first clear evidence of progress, creating excitement and renewed motivation. The third and fourth cycles reveal the compound effects of sustained effort, showing meaningful changes in your financial position and money mindset. The beauty of the sprint structure is that it creates multiple opportunities for fresh starts and renewed commitment. If you struggle during one cycle, the next cycle offers a clean slate and the chance to apply lessons learned. If you excel during a cycle, the following period lets you build on that success with even more ambitious targets. As you progress through your year-long sprint, you'll discover that the real transformation isn't just in your bank account, but in your relationship with money and wealth building. The consistent tracking builds financial awareness that becomes automatic. The regular planning develops strategic thinking about money that extends beyond the sprint period. The accountability relationships create ongoing support for continued growth. The completion of your first one-year wealth sprint won't mark the end of your wealth-building journey. Instead, it establishes a proven system and set of habits that can be repeated and refined indefinitely. Many people who complete their first sprint immediately begin planning their second, building on the foundation they've created while setting even more ambitious targets. Your first sprint teaches you what works for your personality, schedule, and financial situation. Your second sprint refines these approaches while expanding into new areas of opportunity. Each subsequent sprint builds on the previous foundation while adapting to your changing circumstances and growing capabilities. The one-year wealth sprint transforms wealth building from a series of random activities into a systematic, measurable process. It provides the structure needed for sustained effort while maintaining the flexibility to adapt as you learn and grow. Most importantly, it creates the momentum that turns small, consistent actions into significant financial progress over time. The time to begin your sprint is now. Choose your start date, set up your dashboard, find your accountability partner, and commit to the full year-long journey. Your future wealthy self will thank you for the decision to stop dabbling and start sprinting toward the financial life you truly want.